start at the beginning.
The movie begins by telling the story of the friendship between Rosie and Alex since childhood. Neighbors, best friends, inseparable.
Ever since we shared our dreams.
The kind who understand each other with just a look, who share secrets, who have been laughing at the same silly things since they were 5 years old. Their whole lives seemed perfectly in sync. But deep down, there was something there. A feeling that both avoided naming. Maybe out of fear of ruining the friendship. Maybe because they didn't know how to deal with what their hearts were already sure of.
No. Keep that as our secret.
At 18, at Rosie's birthday party, the atmosphere was one of celebration, loud music, laughter, and that whirlwind of emotions only a teenage party can bring. Rosie was excited, surrounded by friends, but without realizing it, she drank more than she should have. The alcohol began to lower her defenses, leaving her vulnerable and disoriented. Amid whispers and glances, the tension grew, a mix of concern, affection, and something neither of them had the courage to name. In a moment of fragility and honesty, Rosie leaned in and kissed Alex. The kiss was unexpected and intense, full of that whirlwind of feelings they had kept hidden for years. But the next morning, Rosie woke up with no clear memory of what had happened. The kiss felt like a blurred dream, a vague shadow of a confusing night. Alex, on the other hand, felt the weight of the moment. He knew it could change everything between them. So, in heavy silence, he chose not to tell the truth, to preserve the friendship they both feared losing. From that moment on, what could have been the beginning of a love story turns into a silent misstep. They remain friends. Pretend nothing happened. But the choices that follow change everything. For the school prom, Rosie ends up agreeing to go with Greg, the typical popular, cocky, and impulsive guy. Alex goes with Bethany, the pretty girl at school. But the two spend the night looking at each other from a distance, pretending to be fine, when in reality, they can only think about each other. They dance, laugh, and drink. Greg is the opposite of Alex, unpredictable, physical, direct. And maybe out of loneliness, frustration, or just the need to feel wanted, Rosie gives in. They end up spending the night together. It wasn't planned. It wasn't thought through. It was impulsive. A slip. But that moment, which seemed irrelevant, almost disposable, changes everything. Weeks later, Rosie finds out she's pregnant. And suddenly, everything she had imagined for the future, college in Boston, her dreams, a life next to Alex, even if she'd never said it out loud, starts to fall apart. Scared and lost, she makes a difficult decision, not to tell Alex. He's about to leave for Harvard, and she doesn't want to be the weight that holds him back from his dream. While he dreams about the future, she lives an unexpected present. Alone. At 18, with a baby in her arms and her world turned upside down. Alex heads off to Harvard with a suitcase full of plans, unaware that he's leaving behind much more than just his hometown. He believes Rosie will join him soon, just like they had dreamed together. But Rosie stays. And not by choice. While he adjusts to college life, the new routine, and new friends, Rosie faces a harsh reality. She has a daughter now, and no one knows, not even Alex. She works as a hotel maid during the day, and in between, takes care of little Katie. Sleepless nights and sacrifices become part of her routine, but she doesn't complain. She loves her daughter with all her heart. She just doesn't know how to explain it all to her best friend, who now feels so far away. Some time later, Bethany meets Rosie and Katie on the street. Surprised, she asks with a cursory smile if the baby is Rosie's. Rosie hesitates for a moment, one of those moments that seems to last forever, and almost automatically replies that it's the nanny. Bethany forces a smile, but her eyes reveal doubt. Something doesn't add up. The resemblance between Rosie and the child is obvious. And that evasive answer only raises more suspicion. Without warning, she tells Alex everything, that she saw Rosie with a baby in her arms, and that despite the nanny excuse, everything pointed to the child being hers. Days later, without warning, Alex shows up at Rosie's doorstep. She opens the door, surprised and visibly nervous. Trying to mask her discomfort with a gentle smile, she invites him out for a coffee. But Alex isn't there for small talk. His gaze is direct, and he decides to stay. Rosie hesitates, but steps aside and lets him in.
So what have you been up to?
Oh, just this and that, you know. Nice haircut, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. You okay?
As Rosie makes the coffee, Alex scans the room. Photos, toys, children's drawings, everything confirms what he already suspects. Then he throws out a vague question.
So much to learn. How do you find these breast pumps, by the way? Some women don't like them.
Oh, total nightmare.
Life goes on, and they each live out parallel romances that only reveal how much the other still means. Alex gets involved with Sally, a girl from Boston, in an attempt to fill the void Rosie's absence left behind. Sally is smart, confident, and fits right into the world Alex now lives in: Boston, university, elegant parties, career plans. She represents a new phase in his life, more mature, more predictable. And at first, she seems like exactly what Alex needs: someone to distract him, to comfort him, to help him move on. After so many uncertainties and lonely nights, Rosie finds a safe haven in Greg.
What are you doing here?
He sent me Katie's drawing. I got on the first.
Greg isn't the type of man who promises the world, but he knows how to offer what Rosie needs most: stability and care. He is patient, attentive, and willing to take on responsibilities that go beyond words. Still, Rosie feels her heart is divided. In quiet moments, her mind drifts back to Alex, to the memories, and to everything that could have been. But with Greg, she tries to build a realistic future, a future where her daughter can grow up with a family, even if it's imperfect. But between meetings and missed chances, smiles and heartaches, Alex and Rosie slowly learn that what's real may take time to happen, but it never truly fades. But not everything is as fine as it seems. Across the ocean, Alex is also married to Sally. A relationship that began with sparkle but ends in pain. He finds out that Sally cheated on him, and the separation becomes inevitable. Amidst this turmoil, Alex writes a love letter to Rosie. Honest words, confessions kept for years, a plea to start over and try what was always left unresolved between them. But life, as always, has its surprises. The letter, written with so much care and hope, would never reach Rosie's hands. When the mail arrives, Greg rushes to get it before her and notices a letter addressed to Rosie, recognizing it came from Alex. Without hesitation, he keeps the letter a secret, hiding it so Rosie never reads it. Instead, he only gives her the one recent letter he received, a simple correspondence from her recently deceased father. Greg knows the weight of Alex's message, and for some reason, decides to prevent the truth from reaching Rosie. But that choice wouldn't come without consequences. While Rosie tries to make the marriage work, the absence of the letter weighs heavier than any physical distance. Alex waits for a reply that never comes. He imagines 1,000 scenarios but doesn't know that the letter was hidden by Greg. And with no answer, he moves on with his life, and with an old flame. Arriving for another day of work at the hotel, Rosie had no idea she was about to uncover a truth that would change everything. While Ruby was going over the day's bookings, a familiar name caught her eye: Greg. Rosie's husband had made a reservation, at the very hotel where she worked, for that same night. No warning, no explanation. Minutes later, the phone rang. It was Greg, letting her know he wouldn't be coming home that night because of work commitments. In that moment, everything inside her froze. Her heart raced, her breath caught, her head spun. But on the outside, she stayed composed. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just felt. Rosie found out he was at a party and decided to go. She arrived in silence, crossed the room as if guided by an unstoppable instinct. And then she saw him. Greg, smiling, wrapped around another woman, completely unaware of what was about to happen. Without hesitation, Rosie walked up to him. She looked him straight in the eyes, and without saying a word, punched him square in the face. A clean hit. Liberating. A punch not just for the betrayal, but for every time she swallowed her pain, held back her tears, and pretended to be happy. Rosie begins removing everything that reminds her of Greg, from her house and from her life. And in this process of clearing out, both inside and out, she finds something hidden in a locked drawer, the letter. Addressed to her. Written by Alex. The moment she opens it, time stands still. The words are raw, honest, full of love. It's everything she had always wanted to hear. Everything he had never said, until now. He wrote about feelings he had kept for years, about everything he wished they had lived together, about his desire to try, if there was still time. But now, is there? Rosie's heart races. Without thinking twice, she grabs the computer and dials. On the other end of the line, a voice answers. But it's not Alex. It's Bethany. The girl from school. Now, Alex's new girlfriend. Rosie freezes. The heart that just moments ago was full of hope is now drowned in silence. Once again, the moment had passed. Once again, she was too late.
It is so great having you as a friend. When every time something goes wrong
Sitting in silence and sadness, Rosie finds herself with her friend Ruby, the one who has always been the voice of reason, but also the spark that lights her courage. Between tears and warm tea, Rosie opens up. She tells her about the letter, the video call, about Bethany answering. And about the pain of knowing that, even after everything, she still loves Alex. Ruby listens. And then, she says what Rosie needs to hear, not what's comfortable, but what's true. Rosie takes a deep breath. And in that moment, she makes a decision. She's going. She's going to cross the ocean. She's going to face everything she let slip away. She's going to look Alex in the eyes and, for the first time, say what she's always felt. But the moment had passed. The wedding had already happened. Alex was now officially married to Bethany. Rosie had arrived too late. Once again. She watched from a distance, her heart heavy, her eyes filled with the weight of everything left unsaid. While the guests smiled, toasted, and celebrated, she stood still, as if she no longer belonged, not in that place, not in that moment. Choosing the person you want to share your life with is one of the most important decisions anyone can ever make. Because when it goes wrong, it turns your life gray, and sometimes you don't even notice it until you wake up one morning and realize that years have gone by. We both know what that's like, Alex. Your friendship brought new color into my life, and you were there through the hardest moments. And I am the luckiest person in the world for that gift. I hope I knew how to appreciate it, but maybe I didn't. Because sometimes you don't see that the best thing that ever happened to you is right there, under your nose. But that's okay, too. Yeah, it's okay, because I've realized that, no matter where you are, or what you're doing, or who you're with, I will always, with all my heart, truly, completely, love you. Rosie decided to move on. No more waiting, no more depending on anyone. For the first time in a long while, she chose herself. Alone, strong, whole. She turned pain into strength. Opened her own hotel, something many said was impossible for a single mother, with no degree, no support. But she did it. With courage, with hard work, with love. Every detail of the hotel carried her story. The walls, the pictures, the small personal touches, everything had her soul in it. And there, in that space she built with her own hands, she found something she had never felt before, fulfillment. Rosie was okay. Truly okay. For the first time, nothing was missing. And then, he showed up. Alex. Free. No ties, no excuses. With the same eyes she had known since childhood, but now more mature, deeper. The eyes of a man who finally knew what he wanted.
Hi.
He didn't need to say much. Neither did she.
Please, follow me.
There were no long explanations. No grand promises. Just a look. A smile. A step toward each other. And then, a kiss. Simple. True. The kind of kiss that doesn't ask for permission. That doesn't wonder what if. A kiss that doesn't need words, because it carries years of silence. No drama. No speeches. Just love. Because when it's real, it might get lost in time. Be delayed by 1,000 missed chances. But one day, it simply happens.